I call this Board of Education meetings for Creve Coeur School District 76 on this April 29, 2013 to order. Roll call, please.
Sheree Archdale. Here. Linda Bailey. Michelle Franklin. Here. Rebecca Kern. Here. Julie True. Here. Julie Strong. Present. Charles Thomas.
Here. You might stand for the pledge of allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
For the comments section, I would like a moment of silence for Allison Stetler, who lost her mother this morning while she was at work at Bradley. For some of you, you would never recognize Allison Pop. We don't know why the Lord took her home, but in fact she did, and it was, thankfully was very quick. So if you'd mind giving a few moments. Thank you. Comments from the audience?
Ian Bauer, 615 Hudson Street. I received a packet of information and a letter from the district lawyer in response to a FOIA request. This information showed that the Parkview Parent Club is still active. I want to know why this parent club is still actively receiving and spending money when we were told the parent clubs were dissolved. And as stated in the letter that the board would no longer sanction the two parent clubs. Then why were parents allowed to sign checks when they were never voted in under a position to do so? Since parents at Parkview were never notified that they were allowed to join this parent club, who were the members? I was informed that at last Thursday's PACE meeting, the Parkview Parent Club was finished and funds would be turned over to PACE. I hope this is true, but that does not excuse the injustice done here. There are a list of people that need to be investigated and steps taken to correct this deception, even if it means some parents be banned from future participation in school organizations. Myself and others have been kept out of participating in our children's schools, while others who were doing the deception were allowed in. The other problem is the audit of the South Parent Club funds. Ms. Davis stated on camera at several months of board meetings that when the audit was done, the funds would be returned to the parent club. Yet, as stated by the district lawyer, no audit was ever completed. I cannot believe that any member of any administration can give false statements and walk away clear. She never stated there was a discussion about an audit. She said the audit was being done. This needs to be cleared up now. I want to see my name cleared. I never took anything from the South Parent Club funds, and I never did the things I was falsely accused of. I was also not the vice president of the parent club. I was the secretary. I had waited 1 year for justice to be served. Don't you think it's time to do the right thing now? I would like to have an answer about who were the members of the Parkview Parent Club this school year and to be notified of what steps are being taken to right all these wrongs. I made copies of the packet I received and would appreciate it if I could approach the board and hand those out to you.
Yes. Is there any others?
Tabitha Brainerd, 608 Corolla Street. I received the school newsletter April 19th. stating that the kindergarten will be having a field trip to the Linden Hills Dairy Farm, which I think is wonderful. It's probably one of the nice field trips that I got to enjoy when my son first started. And then I received the calendar today for May, and I see the kindergartens was this Thursday, and then the rest of the school field trips I see Parkview 5th grade, 6th grade, Parkview Accelerated Reading field trip, 8th grade Aloha Party, the Six Flags trip, and then of course our fun day. Will other classes be taking field trips, and how will we get those in if they're not scheduled yet? Thank you.
Has anyone filed, put in paperwork? She said she's not prepared to address it.
That's fine.
Anything else? Hearing none. I need a motion for item E.
Mr. President, I make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Is there a second? Is there any discussion?
You'll notice on your table in front of you, you received the first payments list. It was inadvertently left out of the packet. You can go through it. There's normal expenses. There's a few that stand out. The reimbursement. There's an installation of a door at the Litchfield Door Head Start, and that will be reimbursed. We had a leak in Homewood, page 5. On page 8, there is an S&S Builders Hardware, again, a reimbursement for repair to Head Start, and that will be reimbursed. Linda had a question about the truck. There's a bill for truck repairs. We did sell the truck, $950, I believe. I don't have that in front of me. But we had to repair the emissions on it before we could even sell it. So we made more money than we had anticipated, and protected our own sale there. Really, there's nothing else unusual. Routine. Oh, Linda had questions on the second payments list that was in the packet. There was a project first care for Eva Davis as a bus driver. If you remember, she drove for us and then didn't. There was a motion. Holly, did you pull up the?
It was at the October 29th.
Yeah.
2011.
Right. This is October. November 29th. So October 29th, 2011, Eva remained on the sublist when she resigned. So that's why you're paying for her to be cleared. And then Linda wanted to know what the Visa Sams for office supplies were, and they were for 2 work tables for the district office.
Anything else?
I'm looking at October 3rd, October 3rd, 2011, did you say?
No, October 29th.
29th. She was added to the substitute list on that date. Present was Rebecca Kern, Julie True, Judy Strong, and Charles Thomas. Is if anybody.
That was October 11th, shouldn't we have?
October 29th.
October 29th, 2011.
Yes.
So shouldn't we have approved the sub-list in 2012? As long as she's driving for us, that's fine. I didn't know that she was still driving for us.
Anything else?
And the minutes. March 13th. I think we should probably have the interviewers' names not in our minutes. To go public, I think we should probably omit all of those names. So that's March 13th minutes, March 14th minutes, March 20th. Anyone that was interviewed, the names are in the minutes. I don't think we would probably want to send them.
So you can read that, so you can accept.
I think you can do it either way. I think the minutes are adequate if they don't reflect the names, so it might be easier to take it.
So we can approve them with that.
Subject to the names being redacted.
And so should we take out the names on March 21st and March 20th? Yes. And
March 18th minutes. On E6, it says motion regarding unpaid textbook fees. I went and listened to the tape, and actually what Mrs. Cruz said was, I made the motion to allow the district bookkeeper to pursue unpaid textbook fees through a collection agency. So do we want to change that to say what the actual motion was?
It was placed underneath where we should probably put it in the motion part of it. You noted it, but it should probably be part of the motion instead of just a comment, discussion on, and that's E6.
And E7, same thing. It says motion regarding Board of Education reorganization meeting. It was the motion to set the reorganization meeting for April 29th, pending the outcome of, and it should be canvassing, not candidacy. Down on I, the motion was made, motion regarding resolution 1301. The word approval was not in there. I don't know if it has to be. This will be an attorney decision.
I have no idea what it's like.
I'm sorry.
Thank you.
But you didn't say this. And Julie didn't say due to reduction in forces. She didn't say that, but it's in the minutes as a motion. I listened to it twice to make sure because I didn't.
And Linda, what did the motion say?
The motion said, I make the motion regarding resolution 1301. And then she said resolution of non-renewal support personnel, period. So my question is.
Was there a written motion, or was the verbiage I'm looking at here, was that in print somewhere?
Is it on the agenda?
This is basically the agenda,
Yeah,
yes.
but I don't think that was on the agenda.
No, no,
I know where that came from.
I don't either.
What, Julius?
Where it says due to the reduction in force, I don't know where that resolution is from.
Unnecessarily. Should.
Could we table these
No, I
minutes and
don't-
redo them?
I don't know that this was, but it is a reduction in force, but sort of presuming that. You can, why don't you table that one?
Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and add the next two. Okay, it says
You got this-
motion,
Julie, you got this noted? Or you can let her do it.
okay, it says motion regarding resolution, Julie, I'm not sure what you said there, I'm sorry. It's I agree, I don't know how to, we'll have to go back and listen again, I missed it. Okay,
Why don't, excuse me, why don't somebody amend the motion to approve the consent agenda, amend the motion to approve the consent agenda minus E2. And a second on that amendment, then you can vote and everything else, you can deal with this later.
Right.
Does that work?
We're gonna amend
No.
the consent agenda and take out this one.
these are the two motions.
I'm talking
But
about
you said
all of the
we're just gonna
review of
just take out
executive
March
session minutes.
18th.
We're going to March 18th.
All, just simply don't act
And we'll deal with it.
to approve the executive session minutes.
Wrong page.
They're just regular board minutes.
Oh,
E11.
E11. That's where we're at. All right, we're still at E11.
Okay.
If we can table these minutes, pull them out,
Okay.
redo them, I'm good with that. That's March 18th.
All right.
And we're going to vote.
Okay. And have you even looked at the executive session minutes yet, or the questions
Not
about it?
there yet.
Are there going to be questions about it? See, we're making it difficult, folks. Consent agenda, if there's issues within, even before the motion is made, then you want to speak up and say, I'd like to remove that from the consent agenda. Then it comes out. Okay, remember that moving forward. The consent agenda is there to make things easy, but it doesn't work, it doesn't serve its function if there's going to be problems or challenges. So all of you, as board members and future board members, should understand that when you have a consent agenda, if there's something there that you choose to have removed, you announce it up front, and it's simply removed from the consent agenda. Then you can deal with it separately. Vote on it separately, or table it if you choose. So what I think I'm hearing is that there are issues relative to the approval of board minutes, that is E1I, or Roman numeral 1, and E2. So the only thing left in the consent agenda is approval of payment lists and approval of treasurer's reports. Are there questions about those two items?
For me,
Then it would be helpful to the process to have a motion to amend. There's already a motion on the floor, I think, is there, to approve the consent agenda. A motion to amend that so that it is only to approve the payment list and treasurer's reports. Is there such a motion to make that amendment?
Yes.
And a second? And then a vote on the amendment. Call that, Mr. President? Yes. Well, there's a motion here and a motion there, and I'm asking the
Okay,
President
I'll
to
make
call
a
that.
motion to amend the consent agenda to only approve payments list and the treasurer's report.
Is there a second on that? Okay, we'll call it, yeah. Roll call.
Sri Archdown. Aye. Lynn Payne. Michelle Franklin. Rebecca Kern. Aye. Julie True.
Aye.
Judy Strong. Charles Thomas.
Now what is in order is a motion to approve the consent agenda as amended.
Do I have a motion for that?
Mm-hmm.
I make a motion to approve the consent agenda as mentioned.
As amended?
As amended, I'm sorry.
Okay. Is there a second?
second.
Discussion? Roll call.
Sherry Archdale.
Aye.
Linda Bailey.
Aye.
Michelle Franklin. Rebecca Kern.
Aye.
Julie True.
Aye.
Judy Strong, yes. Charles Thomas.
And you're volunteering here. Your board meetings will run a lot smoother if secretary and if you, Linda, or any other board member has questions, could raise those before your meeting, maybe get them resolved before your meeting.
Any informational items?
No,
No.
I need to.
Oh. Need a motion for E2?
Mr. President, I make a motion to,
Excuse me, if I can interrupt, are there going to be issues when you think about those minutes?
I
As part of
have
this
some.
judgment?
I have
You have some? So it's maybe not really in order
some. Right,
for
I believe
approval
we
right now?
probably need to have an executive session on it.
Then I suggest that you not proceed with that item.
I need a motion to
Do you
table.
know what I'm saying? I don't want to confuse here. Why put the motion out there and have discussion? The fact is, they're not in the order the secretary would recommend to approve. They need some work. So you should table that item.
Need a motion to table E2?
Mr. President, I make a motion to table E2, review of the executive session minutes.
Is there a second?
Second.
Roll call.
Yeah.
We're already in violation because we're not listed in so long.
Well, if I would correct that, we addressed this with the Attorney General on more than one occasion. Past practice is that there was a delay in the minutes. It was not a delay in the reading from the President and I, it was, we attempted to respond in the same way that you and I did, Linda, when you were President. We acted in the same way, and the only delay is putting it on the agenda. So again, the minutes were read within the 6 months. They were not brought to the agenda. They were inadvertently left off last month, and this month they're delayed, so.
So in any event, we're going to get it right and then have a motion the next board meeting and not to delay.
Unless we have
Well,
an executive meeting.
Judy wants to, as I understand it, wants to have an executive meeting about it, which we've never done in the past, but that's something the future board might
To
consider.
do that. It's a legitimate subject for sure.
Any more comments or discussion? Roll call.
Sherry Archdale.
What's the motion again?
Yeah, I'm
The
gonna
table.
The table
Oh, okay,
E2.
table.
To table the executive session
Aye.
minutes.
Linda Bailey.
Aye.
Michelle Franklin. Rebecca Kern. Julie True.
Aye.
Judy Strong, yes. Charles Thomas.
Aye. Now we're clear to go to the informational items.
Brad, you want to speak to this?
I just give all the board members a copy of, we were able to retrieve some of the missing receipts that we had from, or purchased from Sam's and Costco that were purchased with cash. And I just have a summary there.
Thank you, Mr. Jokish.
Okay. Well, at this point of the meeting, I turn it over to Mrs. Truth as President Pro Tem.
I think, no, you don't have to make a motion to do it. I just share with everybody here that the transition from a regular meeting to an organizational meeting is always awkward. There's no absolute one way of doing it. And I think if one looks at the agenda, it talks about this first meeting, it talks about canvassing of votes. That's that is something that used to be done by the school board, but no longer. If the votes were to be canvassed, they have been canvassed by the election authority, but not by the Board of Education. then this is a point at which there would be an announcement that elected to board membership are Brenda Cagle, Pam Griner, Valerie Reagan, and Linda Bailey. That's what canvassing the votes that you see on the agenda would be all about, if in fact that were still a function of the Board of Education. And then there's a reference to administration of oaths of office, which trying to establish some order to make this hopefully less confusing than what it might be. We'll do that momentarily. And I think, Chuck, that really takes you to the point of this Board of Education as currently constituted adjourning. Sine die is the terminology, which means indefinitely, but that takes a motion.
I would like to ask for a motion to adjourn this meeting.
Mr. President, go ahead.
We're going to go immediately into an organizational meeting. Only.
I make this motion to adjourn.
Is there a second? Roll call.
Sri Archdale.
Purpose.
Linda Bailey.
Aye.
Michelle Franklin. Rebecca Kern. Judy True. Judy Strong. Yes. Charles Thomas.
Meeting is adjourned.
But hold on. All these who remain on the board or about to go on the board, the rules would allow for, in the absence of the president who is not continuing in office, within the board vice president conducts this organizational meeting, at least initially. Bear with me, I'm going to be heavy-handed or else we'll be here for a long time. So this is where you turn over to Julie. And Julie, you can sit up here if you like. No, you don't have to, because you're going to have this role for only a short time.
That's good, I'll stay put.
All right. So this is an organizational meeting. Creve Coeur School District number 76, with the remaining vice president of the Board of Education presiding temporarily over this meeting. And then, Julie, you've got a script to read, if you will.
I will now call the reorganizational meeting to order.
Purpose.
The purpose of the Board of Education at Creve Coeur School District 76. The purpose of this meeting is to administer the oath of the office to the newly elected members of our Board of Education and to elect new board officers. So if the newly elected board members could come forward, please. Valerie Reagan, Pam Griner, Brenda Cagle.
And Bailey.
And Linda
We'll all
Bailey.
stand up here.
Yep.
So what you're witnessing, even though Linda is already on the board, when she's newly elected, she takes the oath of office again. So if you ladies would stand there. If you read this, as it says? Okay. All right.
Ladies, will you please raise your right hand and repeat after me? I state your name. Do solemnly swear or affirm that I will faithfully discharge the duties of the office of member of the Board of Education of Creve Coeur School District. In accordance with the Constitution of the United States, the Constitution of the State of Illinois, and the laws of the State of Illinois to the best of my ability.
The Constitution of the United States, the Constitution of the State of Illinois, and the laws of the State of Illinois to the best of my ability.
I further swear or affirm that I shall respect taxpayers' interests by serving as a faithful protector of the school district's assets.
I shall respect taxpayers' interests by serving as a faithful protector of the school district's assets.
I shall encourage and respect the free expression of opinion by my fellow board members and others who seek a hearing before this board while respecting the privacy of students and employees.
I shall encourage and respect the free expression of opinion by my fellow board members and others who seek a hearing before this board while respecting the privacy of students and employees.
I shall recognize that a board member has no legal authority as an individual, and that decisions can be made by only a majority of vote at a public board meeting.
I shall recognize that a board member has no legal authority as an individual, and that decisions can be made only by a majority of vote at a public board meeting.
Next page. One more, guys. And I shall abide by the majority decision of the board while retaining the right to seek changes in such decisions through ethical and constructive channels.
I shall abide by majority decisions of the board while retaining the right to seek changes in such decisions through ethical and constructive channels.
All right. Congratulations, ladies.
Yeah, leave the hot seat vacant for a moment. You're on a roll, Julie.
All right. We will now move on to the election of board officers. We will begin with the election of the board president and then move on to vice president and then secretary. For each new position, we'll be asking for nominations. Once all nominations have been made, we will vote on each candidate. A candidate must obtain at least 4 votes in order to be elected for the position. If after the first vote, no candidate has at least 4 votes, then the voting will continue until one candidate receives the majority votes. I will now open the floor to nominations of the board members to the office of president of the Board of Education for Creve Coeur School District.
I'd like to nominate Judy Strong as board president.
I'll keep track.
I'd like to nominate Julie True as president.
I would like to nominate Brenda Cagle.
Julie might see, we'll see if there's any more nominations.
Are there any more nominations? Hold on, it's-
Dr. Maria?
Can I ask a question? I'm not sure about can I ask each person if they can be on the board president.
We get really off track.
I
Yeah,
just
this is the
wondered,
time
I feel
that-
that we might,
yeah, I know.
might feel bad.
I know, but that can sort of lead the campaign speeches and go on forever. We're in a nomination process. I think that's- Well, you raise hands. Okay, so,
It actually can't be secret. It has to
I
be
know,
a
it's
public.
Yeah.
a secret, I was asking for a roll call vote.
so nominations, did you announce they're closed? You asked, and didn't hear anybody?
No more nominations.
So nominations
So
are
nominations
closed.
are now closed. We will now vote on nominations for board presidents. The nominees for board president are, do I announce all of them, or do I do them one at a time?
Well, you're going to vote on them one at a time, so
Okay.
I think you could review and let everybody know who the
Okay.
nominees are.
The nominees are Judy Strong, Julie True, Linda Bailey, and Brenda Cagle. So,
Take them in order, and so the question is, all those in favor of electing Judy Strong to the position? This says raise your hand, and now Pam is saying roll call vote. We do it, raise your hands first time through, a lot faster. Does that create issues for you, Pam? We can keep track?
I'm not the only one sitting here, was anybody else want to do?
You're gonna raise the hands high, we're gonna allow people to vote. There's no secrets here. Okay. So, you wanna say all those in favor?
All those in favor for Judy Strong to be president, please raise your hand.
Raise them high. Okay, see one this time. Okay,
All those in favor of Julie Troop being president, please raise your hand.
see one. Okay,
All those in favor of Linda Bailey being president, please raise your hand.
see one, two, three, I'm counting out loud, I'm one missing. Okay,
And all those in favor of Brenda Cagle being president, please raise your hand.
see one. Yeah, you only vote once, one first time, wait, okay, to do that
So there's
again.
only two.
Okay, so I see two, okay. All right, so,
That
no,
doesn't work.
that's right, so nobody having received 4 votes, the question becomes whether or not there's any nominee who would choose, they don't have to choose to withdraw from consideration. We've got 1132.
I didn't vote for myself, so I'll withdraw.
Okay, Julie Troop is withdrawn. That might change the outcome.
It won't change the outcome because I didn't vote for myself, so.
Well, you don't know. It's not for you to decide. Okay, so right now Judy Strong and Linda Bailey and Brenda Cagle are nominees. We might do this several times, but with that change in the lineup, we can go through and vote again.
All those in favor for Judy Strong, please raise your hand.
Okay?
All those in favor of Linda Bailey, please raise your hand.
I'm sorry, I'm still withdrawing.
And all those in favor of Brenda Cagle, please raise your hand.
Okay. There being, I'm playing kind of a role of secretary here, which is permitted, didn't make it up. There is 1 vote for Judy Strong for president of the board, there's 3 for Linda Bailey, and there's 3 for Brenda Cagle. And possibility, Julie, you can ask again. Anybody choose to withdraw? from
Would any
consideration?
nominee choose to withdraw from nominations?
Now, somewhere along the line, somebody's going to say, well, what happens if there's never 4 votes? Right?
I'm ready to ask that.
What happens is that the existing vice president would during the interim function as board president, but would not be board president, would simply run meetings and do those things that board presidents do in the capacity as vice president of the board.
I'm not hearing any withdrawals.
It's just an open seat.
just a one person.
This is an open
Really?
seat, because the vice president would be acting, as Mr. Tibbs said, be acting under the, taking the actions of the president. It's an open seat. At which time, next board meeting, correct me if I'm wrong, next board meeting, it could be brought up again for another vote.
That's a good question. That's why.
Actually, I think because I read that.
Typically, the board president is elected, then the board president runs the next step of the meeting. But I'm not aware of anything that would preclude you from going forward with the other offices voting on. Even though the board can function and as Shane has indicated, you would have an open position. That happens. People move out of the district. Otherwise, the boards go without a board president for a while. So the world doesn't end, but it is an inauspicious way to begin a new school board, a new sort of school year. Julie, since you're in charge, could I suggest 5-minute recess?
Yes. I would like to take a 5-minute recess
That's the power of the chair. Take a
to
5-minute
review
recess.
some information here, please. So if anybody needs a bathroom break.
We're in recess for 5 minutes?
Yes. The only information that I found stated that no decision can be made if the president continues on as the president.
If there is some other information.
It says, if no candidate is elected, the president pro tem continues to serve until a president is elected.
Sure, you might want to check again, make sure there's no withdrawals.
So let's ask one more time, are there any withdrawals of candidates, of nominees? Seeing none? Yes.
Proceed
We
with
will
the-
proceed on to the vice president nominees. Okay, I will now open the floor to the nominations for the position of Vice President of the Board of Education for Creve Coeur School District 76. Floor is open.
I'm nominating Valerie Reagan for vice president.
I would like to nominate you as
I'm resigning to be on
I'd like to nominate Mrs. Page.
I would like to nominate Becky Kern as Vice President.
I nominate Linda Bailey. I nominate Mrs.
been 6 nominations, and 3 have declined, leaving those folks who've been nominated and not declined: Valerie Reagan, Becky Kern, and Julie Truitt.
So she's acting as president.
Yes, she's serving, she is the vice president and president pro tem. She's serving in that capacity. She could, for a new board, she could serve as vice president. There is an assumption, and maybe a false assumption, but I think there's an assumption that she will not forever be serving in the capacity as president pro tem.
So, all in favor of Val Reagan being vice president, please raise your hands.
Count 3.
All in favor of Becky Kern being vice president, please raise your hand.
I don't see any. Oh, I'm sorry. None.
And all in favor of myself, Julie Church, being vice president, please raise your hand.
Well, we're just really moving along here, folks. So there's 3 for Valerie Reagan, 1 for Becky, and 3 for Julie. Now it's time to see if anybody cares to withdraw from being a nominee.
Would anyone like to withdraw from being a nominee? Becky Kern? Anyone else? Hearing none. All in favor of Val Reagan being vice president, please raise your hand.
1, 2, 3.
All in favor of Julie Church being vice president, please raise your hand.
1, 2, 3. Three, 3. Abstention. Okay. Adding.
I withdraw my nomination.
Okay. You decline to serve as vice president, you're saying, Julie? Okay.
We got the old floor here, that's ridiculous.
Vote again.
All in favor of Val Reagan being vice president, please raise your hand.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Congratulations. Val Reagan is elected Vice President of the Board of Education. Six votes.
I will now open the floor to nominations of the board members to the office of Secretary of the Board of Education of Creve Coeur School District. Any nominations, please? I nominate Becky Kern.
I will nominate Pam Griner.
Are there any other nominations? Nominations nominations are closed. Can we take a vote here? And all in favor of Becky Kern being secretary, please raise your hand.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. One abstention. Becky Kern is secretary of the Board of Education. I know this is futile, but is there any reason any board member think we should take any further vote on the position of president of the board? In the interest of moving forward, this very
I would like to see another vote taken, maybe we get past it, move on.
okay. Power of discretion.
Sure. Why not?
Sure.
Once again, let's go back to the position of board president. We have 3 nominees, Judy Strong, Linda Bailey, and Brenda Cagle. For all in favor of Judy Strong, please raise your hand. All in favor of Linda Bailey, please raise your hands. And all in favor of Brenda Cagle, please raise your hands.
Okay. Know where we stand. I would suggest, Julie, you come sit up here and run the rest of this meeting.
I'm already happy to meet. Oh, that's, okay, that was on here. So I need a motion to appoint a school treasurer.
Make the motion to appoint Kyle King at a cost of $250 per month.
Any discussion?
That is the correct name, right?
Yes.
Yes. Hearing none, roll call, please.
Linda Bailey,
Aye.
Pam Griner, Brenda Cagle, Rebecca Kern, Valerie Reagan, Judy Strong, yes, Julie Drew.
Aye.
Becky's not really secretary.
Yeah,
True,
that's
that's true, good point. Thank you, Mr. Superintendent.
No?
Thank you.
Write this down.
It does not validate your vote, by the way. You have to do that again, but look forward, she should call the roll.
Mrs. Bailey did motion. And Rebecca Kern.
No, Pam, second.
Okay, any expressions?
Are you good, Lacey? I'd like to hear a motion to adopt for the adoption of school board policies which are subject to review.
Make the motion to approve the adoption of school board policies subject to review.
Second. And any discussion? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Linda Bailey,
Aye.
Pam Griner, Brenda Cagle, Rebecca Kern, Valerie Reagan,
Aye.
Judy Strong,
Yes.
Julie Drew.
Aye. I need a motion for the designation of depository for the school district monies. Can you put actually to where, or,
Presume it's the same as the existing depositories. I don't have a list of those. I think if your motion reflected to continue the same depositories, that would be
so can we just make the motion to continue with
the existing depositories that will get you
depositories for
through
the
the
school
night.
district monies? Anyone like to make that motion?
Depository.
Second, please. Roll call? Or, I'm sorry, any discussion?
You have to go for the school year or is it just general?
It's till you have to go.
Pam Turner. Rebecca Kern, aye. Valerie Reagan. Abstain. Judy Strong.
Yes.
Julie True.
Aye.
Motion
All right. I need a motion to establish, for the establishment of regular meetings, days, times, and location.
I'll make the motion. We set the regular meeting dates, the first and third Tuesday at 6:30.
Should we have a discussion about dates and
So you
stuff?
can make the motion.
Okay.
Yeah.
Discussion.
Yeah, but in her motion, it was a specific date. In the first and third.
We can amend it,
Oh, okay.
right?
After the discussion, but you can't get a motion before you discuss it.
Yes.
So the first and third Tuesday at 6:30.
Second, we will discuss.
Tuesday at what time?
6:30 to 6. 6:30 to 6.
Discussion?
I know we have a lot of vacation days through the weekend, so Tuesday is a good time, but however, I believe we had left it open for Mr. Triggs to, is your schedule then full?
That should not govern what you want. But that may be why you didn't have Tuesday.
So maybe Mondays is really pushing it after the weekend. It gives the superintendent no time to get back to us to answer us questions. That's why I think Tuesday works out better. And there are a lot of holidays on Monday, so we kept having to move the Monday meetings, to the next week. We were flipping from week to week at the same time, so.
And also the high school, which a lot of the kids go. Yours have both kids at the high school as well as here. Theirs is on Mondays.
They are. I don't have an issue with Tuesday. I have kind of an issue with 6:30. To me, it's late. It's too late for parents and people who have to drive. And if people want to stay after work, if there are teachers, et cetera, that want to attend the meeting, superintendent who wants to attend the, is obviously going to attend that meeting. There's,
Not attending.
he's just not
Fine.
attending. I just think it's a very late time,
Yeah,
personally.
because some of us don't get off work until like 5:30. I mean, there's quite a few parents that rush to get here to the meetings by 6. When I'm here, even 6 o'clock would be a good time. Earlier might hurt.
No, I would just say, think at least 6 to keep it as, it's been.
I think 6 would be good.
Is 6 okay?
This is Mondays, but I'm really just can't do days,
I'll amend my motion for the first and third Tuesday at 6 o'clock.
Second
And the
reading.
second on that?
And I asked who's going to notify the Daily Times of this change.
Okay. It's going to be taken care of by the board secretary. Or myself. No, it's going to be done.
Learn that lesson. Wednesday's not club church. And on the website.
And what?
On the website, posted on the website.
Oh,
You can take the times on the website.
yeah, I was moving on to the whole Wednesday discussion. So, okay. Roll call.
Linda Burton.
Aye.
Karen Rader. Amy Cagle. Rebecca Kern. Valerie Reagan. Judy Strong. Yes. Julie Stewart.
Aye.
Motion carried.
This is a confusing agenda, sorry.
The location. Did we mention the location? Right. Yeah. They're going down there.
Well, in the summer, we had them in the cafeteria first because it's air conditioned.
Mr. Triggs?
What do you guys,
Doesn't have
What does
to
he
be
care?
established.
And what does it matter? No, I'm not being flippant, but it's our
It's our
meeting, it's not his meeting. If he wants to attend, he can attend.
Well, no, legally, what.
Oh.
Sometimes the meetings are. Yeah,
I don't
The
know.
last time was, they were asking about it was 6 o'clock, okay.
Specific because of, I mean, unfortunately, we don't have the legislative building where we have an actual boardroom anymore, so we do have to be fluid. You know what I mean? The majority work here. But, I mean, we do have to kind
Do
of
you want to be
flexible.
I think you should move forward and address it at your next meeting. Because it's gonna vary from time to time anyway. You gotta give a notice anyway of where the meeting is.
That are not large enough. The air conditioners. That are not large enough. Oh, the width. No, it's packed. There's no. It was the cafeteria over there when. Well, no, I have.
We discussed pickup location your next meeting. Well, you're gonna publish notices.
It'll be in your packet. Depends on the temperature. All right. The next thing on the agenda is the self-insurance renewal. Everyone has, I believe this was given out.
You need to end their special meeting and then go into the regular board meeting.
This was not a motion. Can we do this and vote on these issues like FYI? I mean, we had it as a self-insurance vote.
It was on this.
Take action.
It's
It's
on
on the
the
motion to take action. So it's just like an FYI.
I'm sorry, that's different than what's in my book. I apologize.
Yeah.
No problem. No problem.
There's something here that presented insurance.
Where's our revised? I had a revised.
On here.
So we can't vote on either one of these.
I just gave notice. Well, I think you've got two items left. One is deals with your self-insurance renewal, the other is the bargaining agreement with the CCEA, but I think you have a presenter on the self-insurance that you want to hear from.
Yes.
And I think both these items were noticed on your published notice of agenda. Anybody know it differently?
No, we didn't have.
It was on
The first one.
this one.
Yeah.
The sign died that we.
It was in this, it was originally put in this meeting, but because we didn't,
And there was never a public notice that in this meeting you would take those two items up?
well, they're the same.
I would suggest renewal.
Collective bargaining agreement.
I would suggest you have Keith present, and then you can take your, which will be consistent with the spirit of the Open Meeting Act, take your votes at your next meeting.
Okay. Keith?
After all, he's been.
You pronounce your last name for me?
Correct.
Crowley?
Well, the good news is the health plan is running well this year, so, as it did last year. So I'm handing out, we'll go through briefly kind of the history, kind of concentrate on the last couple of years. And my name's Keith Crowley. I'm an insurance agent from Cape Grove, Illinois. I've been working with the school district since 2004 on their partially self-funded group health plan. And so if we take a look at the first page, we look at, if you look at the top there, kind of the headers. In a partially self-funded plan, you have 4 different, I guess, items, so to say, or four things that make up a partially self-funded health plan. You have your medical claims, which are discounted claims by using the PPO network that are actually paid by the plan. You have your RX costs, which are prescription drugs that the employees use. You also have dental claims, which fall under the self-funded plan. They're all in the plan document. The dental benefits are and fall under the self-funded plan also. And fixed costs, which are where you protect your plan. Your fixed costs are you pay a fee to Mutual Medical, who is the third-party administrator that pays and processes all the claims according to the plan document. You have right now a deductible of $30,000 on every individual that's covered under the plan. So the plan, so all the money goes into a pot. The contributions from the district, the contributions from employees go into a checking account, and out of that, you pay the first $30,000 on every individual that has a claim. If somebody goes over that $30,000, you buy a reinsurance policy through, right now it's through Symetra Financial, and they reimburse the plan for everything over that $30,000. So those are the 4 parts, fixed costs, PPA. Yeah, those are on your plan. Some pay, you guys don't pay. You have your PPO network is Methodist. You use Methodist Hospital, and you can go to any doctor you want to with cutoffs, reasonable and customary. And there is a consumer care network that is a proprietary network by Mutual Medical that doesn't cost anything to the employees. Some that'll do rent a Health Link network or something like that. They charge usually $7 or $8 per employee per month to rent those networks to get discounts for the plan. And where you're here in Peoria and with the contract directly with the hospital, and then the physicians no penalties there. You don't have that expenditure on the fixed cost side of things. So if we look at where the plan is, we go back to 2010, 2011. If you look at fixed costs for $171,000, dental claims $23,000, RX claims $95,000, medical claims $535,467. Last year, fixed costs $199,000, dental claims $30,000, RX claims $125,000, and medical claims $367,000. And with that rise in RX claims last year, we've been doing a little bit of research, and we've addressed kind of where that came from. A couple dependents come on the plan, and that's kind of where an increased cost came from in utilization is what it was. We met, and by meeting the committee, and we met over the last, like 2 or 3 times over the last couple months, or 3 months, and Okay, what we're going to look at is, right now, there's not a whole lot of mail order utilization within the group. And with that, the plan can obtain some extra percentage discounts on the plan. So we're going to send out some flyers, do some different things so the employees know about the mail order process. But I think in September, after school year starts next year, I'll come up, we're going to do an educational meeting on that, kind of let the teachers and employees know kind of where the plan's at and different things like that, come September next year. So with that said, last year was better than the year before, but not a whole lot. So let's go, so that's your gross cost. So no reimbursement has been paid out in those numbers. So if you flip the page then and look at what Symetra paid out in 2010, 2011, they paid back to the plan or reimbursed the plan $166,000. So out of that medical claims, because medical claims are the only thing reimbursed, out of that $535,000, $166,000 of that came back to the plan. 2011, 2012, $64,000 was reimbursed. So you had one person, you had 2 people, 3 people. It doesn't, I mean, without going back and look at it, you had maybe one large claim that was $200,000. You paid the first 30, 166 of it came back to the plan. Or you had 4 or 5 people, the same on the 64,000. So the net plan cost, so this gives you what your net plan cost was that the district paid. 2010, 2011, $659,000, 463. Last year, $658,254. So when you can go back to almost 2007, 2008, and you can look at your health plan costs over that 5-year period, and you could almost draw a straight line across there. In today's industry, that's pretty good. That, you know, it fluctuated a couple of years. You had that big year where 762,000 came back down, and has been pretty even. So if you take off the one that was 596 and even those out, that's a pretty line across there of your total healthcare costs, your health plan. So then let's look at where we're at so far this year. So comparing last year, then through 9 months, to this year through 9 months, fixed costs this year is your first column, 2012 to 2013. And what we're looking at here is from July 1st is when the reinsurance year starts. The deductible and co-insurance and all that goes January 1st, but the reinsurance year when the money starts, and that's when we do the renewal now, is July 1. So fixed costs were $159,079. Last year they were $145,000. Medical claims, $236,699 versus last year $209,219. Prescription claims $81,000, so they're down a little bit this year versus $87,000 last year. Dental claims are down about $3,000, $18,000 versus $21,000. So the gross cost of the plan this year to date was $495,614. Last year, through 9 months, $463,680. But last year you had no reinsurance claims or no reimbursements through 9 months. So, but this year so far, $49,066 has been reimbursed. So you had either one individual, 2 individuals over that $30,000, and money's been reimbursed back to the plan to the tune of $49,000. That's off the next page figure. So that makes this year's figure in $446,000, and you're right, that always comes off of that. When you're talking gross, or when I'm talking gross costs, then you have to look at reimbursements that have net cost. So $446,548 versus the $463,680 same time period last year. So last year, then the actual cost was the $658,254. If you annualize this year, which is really take 9 months worth of claims, divide it by 9, multiply it back out by 12, and I don't have a crystal ball to know that there's not going to be something big here next month or in 2 months. But right now, you're looking at ending up at $603,150 for total claim costs for this next year. So with that being said, then we look at what the renewal was. So those numbers are annualized. If you look at total projected claim costs, you have the current year annualized in the first column, A. And in talking to the committee's recommended, and Shelley, and when we look at the numbers and different things, and what you save in premiums, either go to a $35,000 deductible or stay at the $30,000. It's not really, I think we're comfortable with what's in the reserve and different things right now, staying at $30,000 deductible rather than bumping it up to that $35,000. You'd have to have, if you look at the numbers, look at the reinsurance premium from $208 to $199. It's $15,000 difference. And the way you kind of look at it, if you have 3 claims, you got 1 ongoing, 1 almost. So you got a couple out there that we know there's issues on, of employees or dependents or things like that. So if you look at 1 or 2 claims, you're $10,000 right there of your 15 savings. So, and you spend more under your aggregate because you're spending more up to 35. You're spending more on everybody at that point in time rather than the 30,000. So then that kind of depletes some of the reserve funds when you start doing that. So right now, so with this, the reinsurance premium through Symetra went up, and that's just mainly a thing. I mean, you've got a couple things going on. It went up 9%, and just kind of I know some of you have heard this before. I use an example of why that goes up a little bit every year. If you keep the $30,000 deductible, okay, inflation, medical inflation, and we've heard all the things going on right now with medical costs and everything with the healthcare law. Nobody knows where this is going to go, and costs are going up. So healthcare costs are going up. So with that said, there's what they call trend, which is just an inflationary pressure. So if you look at anywhere from 6 to 12% inflationary pressure on a $100,000 claim, so you have $100,000. Next year, that same $100,000 bill is going to be, we use 10%, $110,000. Well, if you keep your deductible at $30,000, you're asking the reinsurance carrier to pick up that other $10,000. Now, they don't do it dollar for dollar, of course, but actuarially, they look at the makeup of the group, and they look at your contracts. The Methodist PPO contract really helps that. That contract reduces large claims over at Methodist. Some of them, it's set up on a per diem, and some of those claims, I mean, if they're large claims over $100,000, they can be reduced down to a per day fee of $3,000, $4,000. That's the way the contract is. It's a really good contract for large claims that happen to stop those big shock losses from hitting your plane. So, so with that said, if you look down at the maximum liability of $797,000 last year, because your reinsurance premium went up to make your fixed costs go up $15,000, but your aggregate attachment point, because your claims are running so good this year, came down by $30,000. So that means a net decrease to the total liability of the plan of $10,000, but staying with the $30,000 deductible. So this year the maximum liability is $797,000. Next year it's $787,000. So it's just, I mean, really just a flat renewal if you look at it that way. Right now, the current funding, which falls off a little bit if somebody moves to family from single to family, or you have one person not enrolled, that it's around $678,000 is the current funding. And that's with district contributions and employee contributions. And sitting in the reserve account right now is about $107,000. So between those two, the reserve and the funding, you have enough, to cover maximum liability of $780. And if claims keep, running like they are, we can reduce some of our drug care costs different things like that, we can, you know, get under control and maybe put another 60,000 in next year. So with that, and just with everything going on with the healthcare law, the committee, when we met, looked at some recommendations and what they would like to, I guess, what we talked about. Further education in regards to mail order drugs. This will help curb the inflationary pressures on the RX, on prescription drug costs. We saw quite a few ER visits. As everybody knows, emergency room is the highest cost room in the hospital. So you can't go there for less than $1,000, if that, probably maybe $2,000 or $3,000, $2,500. So we'll look at that and say, you know, there's some of the clinics, you know, different things like that. Hold off until you can see your doctor. Just be a smart consumer of healthcare. And as I said before, we'll have this in education meeting employees, kind of go over these costs, highlight, you know, where the costs have been, where they've gone, and then there's something out there, there's a phrase out there called grandfather status. And currently, through the healthcare law, this plan's been able to maintain grandfather status so far. And that's a plus for the plan because we've seen some added cost in different regulations and things. If you're non-grandfather, there's some added cost to the plan, and it opens up an exposure for the plan as even paying additional costs. So the plan is grandfathered. I'd like to keep it grandfathered, and so everything really, the plan's staying the same. There's no deductible changes, no co-insurance changes, network. There might be some minor wording just to adapt to anything that's required by the healthcare law. We have to do what's called a summary benefit that is, it's sets everything up in a matrix, and it has to be certain font, certain how many pages, certain things will be on each page. Those will go out with the document. So we'll do that. So maintain the current funding level for next year. So there'll be no increase in anything that's on the budget that's being budgeted right now for the health care. So the funding will stay the same. And to renew with Symetra Reinsurance, this would be the Symetra Reinsurance would be a $30,000 specific deductible. Renew that, just like we talked about before. And then the Methodist contract said they would go enter into that for a 2-year agreement. And then Mutual Medical will keep the price the same for 2 years on their admin fee. They'll lock that in for 2 years on their admin fee. So that'll get the plan through 2015. And I don't know where everything will be come 2015. I mean, it already had, you know, for groups your size, small groups, exchanges were supposed to be set up come January 1st. They've already pushed that back to 2015 already, to where for small groups, individuals are still supposed to be set up, but the small groups have been pushed back a year where they're not required to be set up by the state. So it's going to be, you know, kind of a, you know, wait and see. And that's it, but it'll lock you guys in. This will, you know, your plans. There's a lot of fully insured plans that are jumping to self-funded plans because of there's the taxes. And even though you have to abide by a lot of things in the healthcare law, there are still some avenues and some things that you can do to control your cost of your plan. And you can see by what's going on with the plan that that's what we've been able to do last year. This is a firm renewal. If it's not acted on tonight, I'll have to get before the next board meeting. I'd have to get just a sign off from Symetra. They probably will look at the claims because it was issued through 4/30. And if something comes up, they could take a look at it again because it's good if the renewal's good once it's enacted and then it's locked in, that rating is locked in. But if something comes up, they could, they have, until it's approved, they have a chance to open it up and look. So.
My question is there sorry,
That's okay.
is there a time frame as far as this has to be done by a certain time?
Well, he's saying that
No, I know what he's saying as far as that goes, but as far as it has to be done by
when's the
July
insurance?
1st, right?
July 1st is June 30th premium, and usually we take 10 months worth of claims, but with we always try to get it done here in May because.
What is the specific action you're looking for to keep the plan in place for 1 year? I missed something there when you're talking about.
I guess there'd probably be, in looking at it, probably 3 motions, I guess. One would be to renew the Symetra reinsurance contract. That's 1 year. That goes annually. They want to do a multi-year to renew the reinsurance, and then enter into a 2-year agreement with Methodist Hospital PPO Network,
Okay.
and then renew the contract with Future Medical as a third-party administrator for 2 years at the price. One year.
Oh,
It's 1 year. 1 year and 1 year with TPA. For the last 2 years, it's been 1 year each year.
Okay. I don't think so because this is grandfathered and it would have to go with the new healthcare plan.
Right, and I do know there'd be a cheaper premium copay for the teachers. I mean, I was just wondering.
This time it didn't go out, and the teachers were when the teachers are on board, they,
like
with
this
us,
plan.
and,
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
yep.
We enter into a special motion to replace motion, right?
We can.
Well, we don't know yet. Judy, do you know the notice of this meeting, exactly how it read? That's the real question.
The very first notice?
Well, I guess maybe the last notice. Last notice. Is that what's that's sent to the media? Is that what's put on the door out front or
This
bulletin board?
was, yes, because I think there is something in there about adding motions in the Robert's rules.
Okay, so this
This was the first order of business. We were gonna vote on it prior to the seating of new board members, but they just crossed it off. And then it was added to this one.
but I'm not seeing where it's at. Okay.
No, that
So,
was-
all right, was this document
It
posted?
stayed through our revisions anyway. There's first one, and
All right, so this revised order of business, which.
I don't know when the revised was posted. Holly,
Do
do
we
you know
know,
when
do we
that
know
was
that this was
posted?
posted?
The revised version.
All right, and so the revised version says that this meeting, that you're gonna vote on insurance and the bargaining rate. We're okay. That's what I need to know. Okay, more than 48 hours in advance, we posted a notice that says order of business. We're gonna call that an agenda. It's got the I would suggest that you vote on this item and vote on the next item if you like, because the revised notice indicated that this was a subject to be dealt with at this meeting. We can do better in the future in terms of how the notice reads. It might be that the next meeting you want to ratify your action. Do it again with an abundance of caution.
And might be at the next meeting, we're waiting on, we're gonna have something that's going to occur.
I know, that's why we give it our best shot right now. You gave notice. Look, this is what matters. You gave notice that this was a subject to be taken up at this meeting. That's what matters.
So it doesn't have to be an action item or.
Not if you indicate that it's a subject to be dealt with. But you can do better.
Right, on your agendas, you don't have to list out discussion action. You don't have to put that in your agenda in order to discuss and take action and do your business. Like Mr. Trigg said, Harrington said, they're listed on our agenda. We can discuss them, we can vote on them. It is, it's fine. And if you need to have that ratification at the next meeting, then you can surely do that. But if you're voting now, you would
I
need
want
to
to
do
lock
that.
in the numbers now, because didn't you say that it's
Yeah, I
good
mean,
until
and
April
just
30th?
case in point,
No,
Well, you got-
until June 30th.
He said April
No.
April 30th, this quote's good for April
This
30th.
quote may not be there.
And just, I mean, it's typical, I had a group of about 8 lines, and
We got it.
So there are 3 motions that you might want to consider. I think are lawful to lock in the insurance. I don't want to throw you off when I say ratify, but the only reason we ratify is if somewhere down the road somebody finds a problem, then we just it's an abundance of caution. I don't know how else to say it. So, I don't know who has these motions, Julie? Probably you.
Oh, no. I don't know, give them to somebody. So are we discussing,
Let's see if anybody's got any questions.
sorry.
no,
Does anyone have, hang on a minute, does anyone have any questions for Keith while he is here?
The only question I have is under the third-party administrator, which is mutual medical.
Mhm.
You're looking at all the super bills and all of that to make sure that they're not going to be charged an extra amount of money or what is that going to do?
yeah, that group pays and processes claims according to the plan document. They look at any
Overcharges,
bills,
all that.
overcharges, they make sure there's no bundling in the charges, different things like that. But probably, there is not, every claim is handled by a person, looks at it, there's no automatic adjudication of any bills in there. You have your own dedicated adjuster. Any bill over $5,000, I think the owner looks at themselves, see if there's another available payer, see if something wasn't billed right, anything like that.
Any other questions?
Thank you much, and thank you.
Thank
for
you
your
very
business.
much.
Actually, there's 3 motions, I think, in order.
I wish I had another copy of that.
Yeah.
All right. I make a motion regarding the health insurance renewal. Make a motion that we approve the Sintra Financial Reinsurance Policy renewal as presented at a $30,000 stop loss deductible.
Yes. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Linda Bailey,
Aye.
Pam Griner, Brenda Capel, Rebecca Kern, aye. Valerie Reagan,
Abstain.
Judy Strong,
Yes.
Julie True,
Aye.
motion carried.
Make a motion that we extend the current third-party administration contract as presented with Medical Mutual Plan, Inc. of Peoria for a period of 2 years. Second.
Where's the contract? With that? I do not see one. Do we have
I gave it
the
to,
contract?
did she give it to you? Did Jean give it to you?
Wait a minute.
or anything?
I was told, hang on. No, that's not. No, that's not good.
I'll tell you, folks, that's not unusual. I don't know what.
It's an extension really to the
Every
current
district
contract.
examines those contracts. You have a right to ask for
It's an extension to the contract is one, and then it's extended for 2 years to from 2013 to 2015, and the monthly price is, I think, $925 based on the current enrollment of 42.
It's not in here, that's why.
Yeah.
Pardon me? Pardon me?
It wasn't in here, so.
Right, and I didn't have it, I gave it to, because it's a signature, I guess, I gave it, I had 4 or 5 copies and gave them to Jean there at the beginning of the meeting. I didn't keep them.
Did she leave it over there?
No. The master contract has been signed. This is just an extension.
This is an extension
of the
for
master
2 years, yeah, the
contract.
master contract on what they do and how they process claims and everything has been in place for probably, I think, 4 years. I think it was renewed 4 years ago. At the last, and then it went through the last 2 extensions, and then this was an extension that this is for that, so.
Discussion?
Can we get a copy of that for the house?
Yes.
It might need some more.
Roll call, please.
Linda Bailey. Sam Grant. Brenda Cagle. Rebecca Kern. Aye. Valerie Reagan.
Abstain.
Judy Strong.
Yes.
Julie True.
Aye.
Motion carried.
I make a motion that we enter into a 2-year PPO discount contract with Methodist Hospital. See my copy of that, please?
Same. And they won't do that until after it's approved. I guess it's kind of, it's the same contract you're currently under. So, I mean, it's the same contract you're currently under with the same discounts. I mean, I could get a copy of it.
Any discussion of wanting the contract? But then that would be not what we approved, so then we would have to go.
We have an existing contract that's just been extended. So, am I correct?
Right, as a renewal of the current contract that you have now.
How's the motion read, Brenda?
Need a motion to enter into a 2-year
As
PPO
presented.
discount contract with Methodist Hospital as presented.
I don't have one to present.
Yeah, I think the reference is as Keith presented, but if that's not adequate, then you don't vote for it.
Or in place currently?
Well, that's part of this presentation, it is, as it currently exists.
And that's not, I mean, locking in the price with Symetra is a big thing. I mean, I can get that to everybody, and I mean, you can vote on that. If you want to vote on that next time around, that's still going to be a July 1. If you want the contract here and have it, I mean, that's fine, if you want to do that. But that's up to you guys, I mean, if you want to do it that way.
There's 3 parts to it. The first part you voted on, which is the one that was subject to change. The
Right.
other 2, we don't have any anxiety, it's going to be changed.
So are we comfortable with the motion, or do we want to table that? Roll call, please.
Linda Bailey.
Aye.
Sam Grant. Brenda Cagle. Rebecca Kern. Aye. Valerie Reagan.
Abstain.
Judy Strong.
Yes.
Julie True.
Aye.
Motion carried.
All right. I believe, just as of tonight, we have a ratified contract by the teachers union. And, so there is a, hang on just a second. What came in your packet was this. Everyone received a tentative agreement, which is this one. There was a couple of, you could address this. This was sent late by your office, I believe. That's what I was told, I was told not all of it was sent or something, because this is thicker. I think it's just a little more detailed.
To get right down to it, this is the summary that the union gave to us that had all the changes for the specific cited sections in the contract. So this is a summary of all the changes.
So what you have is a tentative agreement that's been acted on and ratified by the teachers. And I can summarize it very quickly because there's not a whole lot here. It's not to say it's not very important. It's for 4 years. For the last 2 years, there is a reopener, which is to say that all the items in the contract are in place for 4 years, except for 2 items, which after 2 years in the contract are subject to bargaining. And those 2 items are the health insurance and the salary. So it's what's generally referred to as a wage reopener, but generally when people talk about a wage reopener, they're saying you're going to open the contract for the limited purpose of bargaining over wages. You're not going to go back and bargain everything else. And even though it's typically not referred to when wages are reopened, it's almost universal that insurance is as well, because they're tied so closely together, because those are by far the dominant financial aspects of a collective bargaining agreement. The other changes in the collective bargaining agreement are overwhelmingly a matter of incorporating into the agreement what were memoranda of understanding. So they were there in on another format, but not part of the contract, and some changes that were made to be consistent with Educational Reform Act, meaning PARA and Senate Bill 7. There are not other significant changes in the collective bargaining agreement. As Shane points out, you have a handout, I think, which highlights changes. And I don't mean to say there's nothing else, but you'll see overwhelmingly it's a matter of adjusting to the Reform Act and incorporating into the agreement what were in the form of memorandum. The salary increase is lots of ways of characterizing that. I will tell you that it is each cell in the salary schedule is increased by $700, so that each teacher would get the $700 increase, and if, which most teachers are entitled to, they would also get step movement. Those are the 2 components of the salary. And the insurance language is not modified. And when I say it's not modified, that means that you got 90% of board paid for those folks who were hired prior to September 96, and then the board pays 80% of the premium cost for those employees who were hired at a later point in time. That's really it. I don't mean to be cavalier about it or too short, but there's not a whole lot of it changed. But once again, it's for 4 years, and it's important to note that the salary insurance will be bargained again 2 years from now. Excuse me.
So I need a motion to approve the CCEA collective bargaining agreement.
Make the motion to approve the CCEA collective bargaining agreement 4 years through 2017.
Discussion?
So this is at the board table? This is the new one?
Those are the
highlights.
changes. That shows
The actual contract was given in your packet.
And these are the changes.
Yeah.
Those are at the table.
Yeah, we didn't get it.
Oh,
She just,
okay.
they were at the table. We
Those are
didn't.
the
The
changes.
tentative was handed out. The actual collective bargaining agreement was in the packet.
You haven't received this in front of you, how many old members have you had?
It's in there. That's just a summary of what was. Yeah.
I guess I don't understand how employer contract on renewal, what's the advantage to either side or the disadvantage?
Well, it's probably advantage, the advantages and disadvantages for both sides are the same, in the sense that neither side has to bargain for fear of ending up in a disadvantaged position, losing something at the bargaining table, so it cuts both ways. And it is absolutely not universal, but I would say that most boards of education are pleased not to have to do the whole thing every 2 or 3 years. But for the financial uncertainty, which is always, you know, always there, but it's worse now than ever. But for that, most boards, and I find in the last 20 years, most unions are pleased to have a multi-year agreement, anywhere from 3 to 5. So what happens in this day and age, where we have all this uncertainty, we still have a desire frequently on both sides of the table not to have to redo the whole thing. It takes time, sometimes takes money, sometimes puts one side or the other will end up with something that they don't like. And you also have that much more potential, if you will, for them not to come to terms, which can be disruptive. So the general reason for having a multi-year contract isn't any different from what it used to be. But then you put it in the context of uncertainty financially, and you find both sides being uncomfortable going out over 2 years on the money. So that's how you get there. And frankly, in the case of this district, for whatever reason, administration and board, you all have put the district in better shape than most. So there'd be a rationale to go out 2 years rather than just 1. But on the other hand, notwithstanding the fact that you are relative to other districts financially solvent, to go out more than that, given all the uncertainty that we all live with every day, people were uncomfortable. So that's how you arrive at that.
Possibly the whole medical thing here in 2 years, because nobody knows what
Well, that's true.
the new laws are going to come through. Well, I
Yeah,
would,
it's a good question.
I would just think that would be part of it too, for the 2 years thing.
Thank you.
1 year or 3 years down the road, and have to change it based on the law.
Well, for one thing, I mean, as we know, come 2016, we have some dramatic changes. So we just, and by the way, this document anticipates changes in the, with the reform legislation. It's adaptable to those changes.
Any other discussion or question?
Yes, there's a discrepancy on page 19. You have the absence of principal, it talks about hiring an acting principal.
Should be head teacher.
On the stipend page, it says head teacher and other schools.
And the teachers asked, I think teachers asked to change that, and we failed to change it on page 19, so I think that is to be dealt with as an administrative or clerical matter. We'll correct that. Thank you.
So how will the head teachers be, that was always the principal's job before to pick the acting principal, will that still be the same or is that changed?
That doesn't change.
So
Why did we change the wording?
You asked me something I don't remember. It's a long time ago.
Who else was in on it?
We thought it was relatively harmless, considering a million other things they could have asked for and they didn't.
Not being in negotiations and not having any background on the contract, I have no idea why.
I think we thought it was insignificant.
Okay, page 26. Clarify the part about shall be applied retroactively to the beginning of the school year.
Yeah, these, let's see here. Wait a minute, I'm sorry, page 26.
It's the signatures. Actual signatures. The agreement should be in effect upon
Yeah.
execution.
Yeah, I think that's in error as well. That's language that was there, we changed the date, but there's nothing, doesn't hurt anything, there's really nothing to be retroactive here.
Well, I didn't want to go back and pay everybody.
No,
you know.
no, because the salaries we're talking about are for 2013-14.
So will the sign copies be changed?
Yeah, we can change that. They won't have a card. We never got it done this quickly before. We're used to it being retroactive.
Exactly. Any other year, it's always after.
Now, the tentative agreement, it is not till 2013, 2014.
Well, but there's some, I think, Lynn was right, there's some language that references to being retroactive, which is superseded by other language here, but there's no reason not to think that.
Just be careful.
Yeah, it's fine. I'll make those changes.
Anything else?
So that was changed that all full-time teachers receive, it's on this, just got some changes under section 4.5 preparation time. I thought they always received their preparation time. Did the time change or what changed on that?
It was in a memorandum of understanding before.
Oh, it was
now it's in the
never in the
contract.
contract.
Right.
And so is this.
Mhm.
I wondered about the meetings, the faculty meetings, is that something that the board wanted to do, or do you guys know?
The teachers.
The teachers wanted the faculty meetings.
That's the 1 hour a month, is that?
Yeah, on 4.1.
Yeah, there's a lot of discussion about that. The effort in 4.1, which I think strikes a very professional balance, is to say that if a faculty meeting, I should read it, I'm just remembering at this point now, but if a faculty meeting runs more than an hour, the teacher can make a specific request that I've got a child at home alone, I need to get home or whatever, and make the request, don't just walk out, which is unprofessional and irritating. But on the other hand, there is a good faith commitment on the part of the administration to say that we're going to try to limit the duration to 1 hour, and then it turns around and says that in any event, we'll never go more than an hour and a half. I think that's an outstanding example of the parties trying to meet, respect one another's interests and trying to come up with a kind of compromise. So the meeting might go an hour and a half, we'll try to limit it to an hour, and if somebody absolutely can't be there for more than an hour, then they need to be respectful of the administrator and ask to be excused. And so we'll see how that works. Otherwise, in every school district in the state, I will tell you that people go round and around about that. And I think that this is as good of a compromise as I've seen.
It was left blank, so that was just filled in. That I don't know.
Do you know if that vice coordinator's position was increased? Is they right now?
I know it's not increased.
It is not.
It's not increased. It showed up somewhere else. It wasn't there before. I think it was on the schedule itself before. It's not increased.
I just wonder because it was blank and they.
Oh, in the previous contract, they had $4,000.
And before in the contract, I thought they had in there no online courses, was that taken out? Or only one online course a semester, it seems to be taken out for education. It was not in there. This was taken out.
That was at the discretion of the superintendent.
Right, in the past, though, it was in the, I thought it was in the wording that it was only one online course a semester or something. It might have been taken out for the contract.
I know, I think that might have been taken out in the last
Was
contract.
it taken out last contract?
I believe so, because I think it was discussed about, you have the previous contract, right? Or do you have?
We don't, see, that's just that we are just.
Well, I know, but I'm pretty sure it was taken out the previous contract because, if I remember right, the education part was at the discretion of the superintendent.
Oh, yeah. It's section 8, 5. Page 15. And 16.
Well, I believe that was changed in the last contract, so I think it just continued on through this one.
I don't find in the prior contract any language like that, although note that all courses have to be approved by the superintendent in advance.
But it doesn't say anything about limiting.
Yes.
There's no-
I don't think so. Any other questions? Hearing none. We have a roll call, please.
No.
Yes. I need a motion to adjourn.
Notice Mrs. Davis, what can we do for the agenda next time? I mean, we need to know where we're at. Is Shane, do we take things to Mr. Aldrich now? Do we take things to Mrs. Davis?
I will get that information to you. We'll find it.
I have another question. We didn't ask if there's any most aggressive Should we have, before we adjourn,
she'll always be afraid of that. So, and I think kind of follow, she did it earlier tonight, but why not? Why not? So, to answer Linda's question, she's still superintendent, she has to make those arrangements one way or the other. How that happens is something else, the mechanics of it. Take things to the office and designate it for the superintendent. This man's not getting paid.
I thought last week it was.
No, I don't know your rules, I shouldn't
I
say.
mean, that's what I was asking, he's gonna be here for the meetings, is
Right.
what we agreed. So to make the agenda, I didn't know where to take the.
Right, it's my understanding that Jeannie's still going to put together the packets, make sure that everything is in there, have the agenda published and put into where it needs to be, all the notices and everything. And then my job is to come here, be in the district during the day to meet with people and see the district, and then attend the board meeting to make sure things are running smoothly and report back to her.
So questions with those.
Questions still need to go to Mrs. Davis.
The other thing I have, and I don't know, I have mandatory and new board member training information. Did we get that in our last meeting, or did y'all receive it in your packets? Because if not, I will make a copy of it. It's just a FYI. I don't know how.
Well, there's required board training that has to be done. So we'll make sure that everyone has that
I'll
information.
make sure you have it. I'll send out an email or forward this one. I printed it off for some, obviously for that reason, to let you guys know. And also, okay, that's the other thing, can wait. So can we, do we have any comments from the audience on action items? Well, no, any comments from the audience?
Bessie Run 120 Cole. I would just like to ask for a special meeting with the new board to get my name cleared of the false accusations that were made about me. And I would like the principals to be there and the new superintendent.
Thank you. Anyone else? Hearing none, I need a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Roll call, please.
Linda Bailey?
Aye.
Sam Brenner?
Aye.
Rebecca Myers? Aye. Valerie Reagan?
Aye.
Stevie Stone?
Aye. Adjourn.